The next topic is cost behavior and relevant range. So the relevant range refers to the activity levels over which. So what is relevant range? Under relevant range we have two things. Fixed cost in total is same. Total it is same, or we can say it's constant. And variable cost per unit is same or constant. So under the relevant range, fixed cost in total, it is either it is same or constant, and variable cost per unit it is same or constant. So the relevant range refers to the activity levels over which cost relationship hold constant. What is the relationship? Fixed cost in total is same and constant, and variable cost per unit is same and constant. That's what cost relationship hold constant. Next, an assembly plant accumulates its variable and fixed manufacturing overhead costs in a single cost pool, which is then applied to work in process using a single application base. The assembly plant management wants to estimate the magnitude of the total manufacturing overhead costs for different volume levels of the application activity using a flexible budget formula. If there is an increase in the application activity base that is within the relevant range of activity for the assembly plant, which one of the following relationship regarding variable and fixed overhead is true? The relationship is constant under the relevant range and it is within the relevant range. So within the relevant range, two things happen. That is, fixed cost in total is same and constant, and variable cost per unit is same and constant. Let us see. The variable cost per unit is constant. This is true. And the total fixed cost decreases. Total fixed cost does not decreases, it remains same or it is constant. The variable cost per unit is constant. This is true under the relevant range. The total fixed cost increases. No, the total fixed cost remains the same or it is constant. The variable cost per unit increases. No, the variable cost per unit is same. The total fixed cost remain constant. Yes, this is true, but this is remains untrue. So option C is correct. Let us see. The variable cost per unit and the total fixed cost remains constant. So under the relevant range, what happens? The variable cost per unit and the total fixed cost remains constant. Under the relevant range, fixed cost in total is same and constant, and variable cost per unit is same and constant. Next, which one of the following is correct regarding a relevant range? Total variable cost will not change. No, total variable cost is like this. Total variable cost. Total variable cost changes. Will not change? No. It will change. That is total variable cost. Total fixed cost will not change. Yes. Under the relevant range, what happens? Total fixed cost will not change because total fixed cost, the graph of total fixed cost is somewhat it is same. So total fixed cost will not change. Actual fixed costs usually fall outside the relevant range. No. The relevant range cannot be changed after being established. The relevant range can always be changed. It's not that it cannot be changed, or it can always be changed. Next. Production levels are expected to increase within the relevant range. What are the anticipated effects on the following? So fixed cost per unit, fixed cost per what happens is production levels are expected to increase within the relevant range. What is the anticipated effects on the following: fixed cost per unit and variable cost per unit. So variable cost per unit is like this, and fixed cost per unit when the production, when what they are asking, production levels are expected to increase. When the production levels are expected to increase, the fixed cost per unit will remain same and there will be no change. But fixed cost per unit will decrease. So the correct option is that fixed cost, when the production levels are expected to increase, fixed cost per unit will decrease and variable cost per unit will have no change. So option B is correct. Because fixed cost per unit changes indirectly with the production level. There is one more point that we need to discuss, that is fixed cost per unit changes indirectly with the production, changes indirectly with the production level. Now next, the difference between variable cost and fixed cost is variable cost per unit fluctuate. Variable cost per unit will not fluctuate, it will remain same. Fixed cost per unit remains constant. No, fixed cost per unit is variable. Total variable costs are variable over the relevant range and fixed in the long term, while fixed costs never change. All costs is not fixed cost. Fixed costs are fixed in the long term. It's not like that. All costs, either it is variable or fixed, are variable in the long. All costs are variable in the long term. While fixed cost will never change. No, fixed cost can be changed. It can be changed. So all costs are variable in the long run, and no fixed cost. While fixed cost never change, no, fixed cost can be changed. Variable cost per unit changes. No, variable cost per unit remains the same, while fixed cost per unit will change in equal increments. No. So the correct option is option B, that is variable costs per unit are fixed over the relevant range and fixed costs per unit are variable. This is the correct option. When for example if production is increasing, the variable cost, the fixed cost, when production is increasing, fixed cost will be this way. If production decreases, the fixed cost will increase. So the cost of fixed cost increases, and when production increases, fixed cost decreases. So the graph is somewhat like this. Okay, now next, which one of the following refers to the cost that remains same as the volume of activity decreases within the relevant range? It is variable cost per unit, because variable cost per unit remains same. So what's the graph of variable cost per unit? It is this way. Variable cost per unit remains the same. Next, within the relevant range, fixed cost per unit will increases as the activity level increases. No, it is decreases. It will not increase, it will decrease as the activity level increases. Fixed cost, what happens when the production increases, fixed cost will decrease. And when the production decreases, the fixed cost will increase. So increases as this is inversely. The fixed cost changes indirectly with the production level. So it decreases as the activity level increases. Decreases as the activity level increases. Decreases as the activity level decreases. No, it will increase as the activity level decreases. It will increase as the activity level decreases. Remains the same as the activity level decreases. No, if the activity level decreases, it will increase. It will also increase. So the correct option is that within the relevant range, fixed cost per unit will what happen? Decreases as the activity level increases. If the activity level increases, the fixed cost will decrease. So decreases as the activity level increases. Next. A company has discovered that the cost of processing customer invoices is strictly variable. They are asking for variable cost. The company has discovered that the cost of processing customer invoices is strictly variable within the relevant range. Which one of the following statements concerning the cost of processing customer invoices is incorrect? The total cost of processing customer invoices, they are asking for the incorrect option. The total cost of processing customer invoices will increase as the volume of customer invoices increases. Yes. The total cost of processing customer invoices will increase as the volume of customer invoices increases. The cost of processing the 100th customer invoices will be the same as the cost of processing first customer invoices. Yes, this is also a true statement. The average cost per unit for processing a customer invoice will equal to the incremental cost of processing one more customer invoice. This is also true. So the incorrect option is that the cost per unit for processing customer invoices will decline as the volume of customer invoice increases. The cost per unit of processing customer invoice will decline as the volume of customer invoices increases. The cost per unit will remain same. Will remain same for variable costs, but the cost per unit for processing customer invoices will decline as the volume of customer invoices increases. This is true for fixed cost. But they're asking for variable cost within the relevant range. So this is the incorrect option. Next, when identifying fixed and variable costs, which one of the following is a typical assumption concerning the cost behavior? General and administrative costs are assumed to be variable costs. No. General and administrative costs can be fixed cost and it can be variable cost as well. Cost behavior is assumed to be realistic for all levels of activity from 0 to maximum capacity. No, they are not realistic for all levels of activity. Incorrect option. Total costs are assumed to be linear when plotted on a graph. Yes. Total costs are something like this. So when plotted on the graph, total costs are assumed to be linear when plotted on the graph. The relevant time period is assumed to be 5 years. No, it's not 5 years. Next, a management accountant is about to prepare graphs of total variable cost. Total variable cost graphs of what? Total variable cost and per unit variable cost. So total variable cost is somewhat like this. This is the graph of total variable cost and this is the graph of per unit variable cost. Variable cost per unit. This is the graph of variable cost per unit, and this is the graph of total variable cost. So it's a straight line sloping upward to the right. Yes, a straight line parallel to the horizontal axis. Yes, this is the correct option. Next, a company has found that its total electricity cost has both fixed component and a variable component. So if the cost has some fixed component and a variable component, that is the example of mixed cost. Or semi-variable cost. When a cost have both fixed components and a variable component, so it's an example of mixed cost and semi-variable cost within the relevant range. The variable component seems to vary directly with the number of units produced. Yes, which one of the following statements concerning electricity cost is correct? So it has the character of both variable cost and fixed cost. So let us see. The total electricity cost will increase as the production volume level increases. Yes, this is true. The total electricity cost per unit of production will increase as the production volume increases. This is also true. It will increase. The fixed electricity cost per unit of production will decline if production volume increases. Yes, this is also true. The variable electricity cost per unit of production will remain constant as the production volume increases. The variable cost per unit of production will remain constant as production volume increases. This is also true. So the incorrect option is what? The total electricity cost per unit of production will increase. The total electricity cost per unit of production will increase as the production level increases. This is the incorrect option. This is the incorrect option, and this is the correct option for this, because it has a fixed component and it has a variable cost and fixed cost, because it's a mixed cost. So it will have the component of variable cost and fixed cost as well. So total electricity cost will increase as the production volume increases. The graph will be somewhat like this. The variable electricity cost per unit of production will remain constant as the production volume increases. Under the relevant range, variable cost per unit remains the same, or it remains constant. So the fixed electricity cost per unit of production will decline as the production level increases. The fixed cost per unit will decline. Fixed cost will decline if production increases. Yes, but the total electricity cost per unit of production will increase as the production level increases. It has inverse relationship. So that's why this is incorrect option, because fixed electricity cost per unit of production will decline as the production volume increases. Fixed cost will decline if production level increases. It will not increase. The total electricity cost per unit of production will increase as the production volume increases. No, this one is decreasing, so that's why this is the incorrect option. Next, a company is determining the cost behavior of several items in order to budget for the upcoming year. Past trends have indicated the following dollars were spent at three different levels of output. You have unit levels. We have 10,000, 12,000 and 15,000. We have cost A, B and C. And in establishing a budget for 14,000 units, the company should treat cost A, B, C respectively as. So let us see. Fixed cost in total is same. Variable cost per unit is same. and the mixed cost, or that is semi-variable cost, will decrease. Mixed cost will decrease. Mixed cost will decrease by per unit, by unit basis. Now, cost D is 10,000 and 15,000 and 15,000. This is fixed cost because it remains the same. It's basically a fixed cost, but it is a step cost. Now, cost A is, now let us divide by the per unit basis. 25,000 by 10,000. That is cost A. For this 25,000 by 10,000, we get 2.5, and 29,000 by 12,000, we get 2.41. So, so per unit basis it is decreasing. When the per unit basis it is decreasing, this is the cost A is a mixed cost, because mixed cost per unit will decrease because it has the element of fixed cost plus variable cost. Now let us see cost C. 15,000 by 10,000 is 1.5. 18,000 by 12,000 it's 1.5. 22,000 by 15,000 it is 1.5. So this is variable cost per unit is same, fixed cost in total is same, mixed cost will decrease as a mixed cost will decrease by per unit basis. So the cost A, we have mixed cost or semi-variable cost, we have mixed cost which is semi-variable cost, we have fixed cost, and we have variable cost. So mixed cost, fixed cost, variable cost. So option A is correct. Next. An entity provides the following summary of the total budgeted production cost at three production levels. We have volume of units, we have 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. Cost A, B, C, D is given. So the cost we have for each of the cost through A and D respectively is. So let us find out. This cost C is the fixed cost, because it's in total fixed cost remains the same. So this is the behavior of fixed cost. Now let us see cost A. So cost A is 1,420 by 1,000. It gives you 1.42. This is 1.42, and 2130 by 1,500. This is 1.42, and 2840 by 2,000. This is 1.42. So cost A is variable cost because per unit it is same. This is an example or behavior of variable cost. 1,550 by 1,000, this gives you 1.55. 2,200 by 1,500, it gives you 1.46. 2,900 by 2,000, it gives you what? So this is an example of semi-variable cost. Now, cost C is a fixed cost, and cost D. Let us find what is cost D. Cost D 1,630 by 1,000, it gives you 1.63. 2,445 by 1,500, it gives you 1.63. 3,260 by 2,000, it gives you 1.63. So this is a behavior of variable cost. So the cost A, let us write down. The cost A is variable cost, and cost B is semi-variable cost. Cost C is fixed cost, and cost D is variable cost. So So this is variable cost, this is semi-variable cost, it is fixed cost and variable cost.